Hello, I know I haven't been making the how to make specific things recently. However, I came up with a modular system recently. I thought it was something that may benefit other people. So I'll be showing what it will look like, what it should look like, and how you're going to make it. So far, this is a developer's Recon Core with some other gear. Well, I made the harness, like mountain climbing harness, underneath the battle belt or duty belt. The duty belt is one of the earlier versions of the modular system. This is one of the first things I made. This has a Velaverse AR magazine, a G.I. Joe classified cylinder grenade. We have another G.I. Joe classified knife, and the Velaverse, I'd like to say 2011, modern 1911 with the flared magwell, and it's all done up. And then after that, we have the climbing harness, which was covered by the battle belts. This is one of the more simple versions. It's just a couple of strips connected with a loop on the top to put a rope through or tie a rope onto. Not too much on that one. However, the next one is really probably the most advanced of what I've come up with. The actual plate carrier and the modifications and like attachments for the plate carrier. Let's see if I can get this undone behind the screen so I don't need to show it in front. Okay, as I'm doing this, I will tell you that before I discovered how useful Velcro can be, I would typically just tape the plate carriers or holsters or whatnot onto the figures. But that was not very effective. So I changed after I found cord, let's see, I'm not sure what to call them. They hold the cords together, charging cords. This is the plate carrier with a modular backpack system. I'll take the backpack off for now. It's just a pretty simple setup, this one. I have two Velaverse M16 mags with the mag pole on them, and then two smoke grenades. Let's see. These are too low. It's rather a simple system, just using Velcro and electrical tape. And the good thing I found with this is it fits on most of the 1 to 12 scale figures. Of course, I've only ever used G.I. Joe Classified and Velaverse. But in those two companies, these will fit well. Also, the backpack system. This is my larger main pack per se. The backpack system uses a Velcro, you can kind of see it right around here on the very top of the rear plate bag, to connect with a small tab of the other Velcro system on the top of the bag. And on the bottom of the bag you have, on this, since this is a larger pack, I have a more waist belt type Velcro. So you just kind of put it on, and then you have to open up the front plate bag of that. And you go around the first ring, and then since this isn't on a figure, I'll just kind of slide the rear behind it, and then you connect your front plate bag to the bottom, the cummerbund, and then you have your pack connected. This is one of two that I have made. This is the larger one, I think I said that. But this one has a Velcro latch that uses the same Velcro. The other pack I have is more of, not quite a day pack, but the Marine Corps, they have a hydration kit, or a hydration pack, the very small backpack that has the MOLLE on it, so that you can connect first aid kits and whatnot. This one has a very similar connection. You just go with the tab on the top, and then you go down to the bottom. And this one is a lot more simple. However, you need to line it up right because of the tabs on this one are a little bit different. These are just smaller tabs that are going to go around the back of your cummerbund, so that you can do this instead of going around the entire plate bag. Then you can put your front plate bag connectors on there. And you have your more Raider setup, I'd say, with the IFAC, bolt cutters, different stuff in the main compartment, and then there's a smaller one, plus the G.I. Joe classified version of the Cold Steel SRK, and a radio on the other side. Alright, let's get into building them. Now this setup is a very basic setup. I will not be showing how to do the camouflage. I believe I showed that in my backpack video. However, that is an outdated system being replaced with this new, more modular system. There's definitely improvements I can do, but as of right now, this is a pretty good system in my opinion. More modifications you can do if you have the motor skills to do it is you could probably figure out how to make a smaller pouch up in the very top of the plate bag. Another thing is I've seen people use cardboard to make actual plates, which is probably a good idea. Making a more rigid carrier, which I might actually do that in this. Yeah, I'll do that in this video. I need to go find some cardboard real quick though. So to make a plate carrier like this, this will be the first thing I will show how to make. Then I will show how to make the harness, the rock climbing, rappelling harness. After that, I will show you how to make the battle belt, which is pretty simple. This is likely the most modular of the system. Being a belt, you can kind of just slide things on and off as you want. And then after that, I will show how to make a backpack. And now instead of these packs, because I can't really repeat things very well, I will show how to make a smaller kind of 3-day assault pack. Yeah, so a smaller, more compact pack that will use the modular system. Okay, so what you're gonna need to build the plate carrier is some kind of cardboard. Here I have a box of Wilhelmina mints. You will need, you won't need, but you might as well grab a Sharpie so that you can make your outline of what you want your plates to look like, depending on what kind of plate carrier you want. You will want a pair of scissors, preferably something either sharp or serrated to where it will cut electrical tape smoothly. You will want electrical tape. Whoops. Electrical tape. Right here I just have some generic like dollar store electrical tape. You will want these cord holder things. I have 2 of them right here, but that's because I'm making multiple things. These are going to be the basis of your cummerbund, and for your other things, the attachment points and the buckles, or buckles. And then to cut these, it's kind of hard to cut them with typical scissors. So I have a pair of trauma shears. These are designed for cutting clothes off if you need to in a medical emergency. But those are all the things that you will need to make the plate carrier. So we will start with the actual plates. You want to I'm going to use this part of the box, the insides, because I could probably use this for some kind of pelican crate or something. And this one is a this one is slightly thicker than the outside box. So what you're gonna want to do is, let's see if I can open this up. I can't open that up super easily, so this might take some finagling. I'm gonna do this off camera. Okay, so it's not super hard to open this up, but it definitely does take some finagling. First, what you're gonna want to do is you're going to want to cut off the sides of the box, these little flaps, because those, you do not want that messing up your plates. And then you're going to want to cut off the shorter ones too. Make a very rectangular basis for your plates. Now we may use these later for backpacks. Likely not. I prefer using paper clips. However, these will work if you do not have paper clips. And then cut all the sides off. And then what you're gonna wanna do is fold it in half. And then on one side of the cardboard, get this out of the way, you want to draw your plate. So I'm going to do that behind the screen where I can actually do it correctly. Now you kind of want to try and get it to the right shape, to where it's not going to be, well, right shape and right size, where it's not going to be too big, not too small. Now I fold it over because typically plate carriers have a front and a back plate. Now if you'd like to do this for a specific character, you could probably just draw it kind of over the character's main torso. The carrier we're going to be making right now is kind of a more minimalist one, a smaller Special Forces type one. So there we go. I have my plate all drawn out, and then you're just going to cut out the outline because I drew mine a little too small. You want to make sure you're getting all the angles right and you're not messing up any of the straight lines, because that's what makes it, that's what gives it its artificial feel. It makes it more rigid. There you go. Now you have your front and your back plate. This can be my front plate, this will be my back. These should cover on the figure. Let me pop his head back on because I need to take the vest off. These should cover up to your collarbone, as well as your main organs, such as the lungs and the heart, and even the kidney and stomach if you can. However, this is a little bit too small, so I will probably go back and no. I did end up going back and redoing them. These are a lot nicer. They are also the right size. And that is very, very important. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get your figure, and then you're going to want to get your plate, kind of get the right bend in it. Because typically strike plates are not always flat. So you kind of want to bend in it like that, to where it will kind of curve around the torso of your figure. And then if you can kind of, it doesn't really show up on camera, you kind of want to bend it like that, to where it covers the chest without flopping. And then you're going to want to do the same thing for the back, which shouldn't be as hard because the back is a little flatter. Yeah, there we go. The back should look something like this. Now that we have our back and our front plates, we can move to the cummerbund section of the vest. So for that, you're gonna wanna grab your Velcro thing, and then I have trauma shears. You could likely use scissors. I just find that these cut a little smoother. And you cut this part around there off, and then you do the same thing to the other side, right about there. And now you have a nice squared up strip that you can kind of mess around with. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to cut it about in half all the way down so that you have not a giant cummerbund for this kind of plate carrier. For different kind of plate carriers like the standard infantry and I'd say juggernaut vests, I'd leave it not quite full, but I wouldn't trim it down this much. So we're going to use the right one because it is slightly thicker than the other one to give a little more support, and it just looks a little bit nicer. So what we're going to do next is we're going to get our two plates, our back plate and our front plate. What we're going to do is we are going to get the electrical tape aspect of them, which is the main part of the vest, because if it were not for this, it would not look right. The electrical tape gives it the right color, holds most of the stuff together. So what you're going to do for this is you're going to get a little bit of electrical tape, maybe about an inch, and cut it off of the roll. And then you're going to want to grab your back plate, put some very low on the rear, the outward facing part. So it should be on the outward facing part where you stick it. And then you're gonna wanna get your Velcro. It doesn't really need to be centered, it just looks nicer. Then you can kind of fold the tape over to hold your Velcro in place so that it doesn't move. And this is going to be the base of your rear plate bag. Now we're gonna add a little more support on the bottom. So we're gonna get two more smaller pieces of electrical tape by getting maybe about a 3/8 of an inch of tape and cutting that in the middle. And then now what you're going to do is you are going to just put it on the very edges, both edges of the rear plate, so that you get a nice smooth bottom. No white is showing, because when you're running it up and you do not, and you're not camouflaged, it usually doesn't end well. So now that we have this, we can move on to the front plate bag. With the front plate bag, you're going to want to get two pieces of electrical tape, maybe at the most 1.5 inches. Even then, you're probably going to trim some down. It doesn't need to be the exact same. Just make sure, get a little bit more than you think you need, so that if you need to trim some off, you can. And then, put them together like this, so that they're perpendicular to each other. Not perpendicular, parallel. And then what you're gonna do is you're going to put them, what you're gonna do is you're gonna cut both ends, or just one end flush, like that. And then you're going to line it up with actually no, what you can do is we're not quite there yet. Never mind. What you can do is put it like this, except I did that wrong. you want to line up one of the corners with it and then lay it over like this, like so. And then what you're going to do is you're going to cut off the excess on the side so that it does not protrude out of the plate carrier, the front plate. And then what you're going to do is you're going to find about here, about, let's say, a quarter of an inch above the bottom of the plate, about halfway up the plate. You're going to grab it, and then what you're going to do is you are going to kind of crease it and then mark it with, actually not mark it, you're going to kind of keep it there with another bit of electrical tape so that you know where you're going to have your fold. This is going to be a part of what connects the front pouches, magazine pouches, and general purpose pouches to the actual plate. The next thing you're going to want to do is you have the other half of your trimmed wire thing, and then you're going to cut maybe 3/4 of an inch off. And with that, you can tape it to the bottom of the plate bag, similar to how we did with the rear cummerbund. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna put up in front, you're gonna put it centered, and then you have this back here, and you're gonna fold it over. And don't mind the train horn, I live near a railroad track. That is normal. You kind of fold it over to where it stays. So when you connect the two plate bags, when these are folded over each other, you can connect this to the rearward. So other than this connection, we're gonna have shoulder straps, which are not very adjustable, because those are just electrical tape. And then we're going to have this right here, this flap, is going to connect to this part right here. So we can take the front plate bag off. I'm going to go off camera to grab some magazines we can make pouches for. I will be right back. All right, so similar to the other vest, we're gonna have 2 mags of 5.56, the AR mags, or well, 5.56 or 300 blackout or 458 SOCOM. We're gonna have the 2 magazines, and we're gonna have our 2 smoke grenades or cylinder grenades, whatever you want them to be. These are both Valivers. Now what we're gonna do to make these pouches is we're gonna grab, for the magazine pouches, we're gonna grab some electrical tape, take a little bit off, this is probably more than I'll need, and then you're gonna wanna cut it, and then cut it in the middle again. Whoops. Then with one of these, you want to grab one of your magazines, then you can kind of put it on the back, like so, and then just wrap it around the magazine, like so. Make sure that you can remove the magazine if you'd like it to be removed. I typically, with stop motions, do like my magazines to be removable, so I make sure not to go super tight. In the end, it should look something like this. Now we're gonna do the exact same thing to the other one. I'm gonna move this down so you can see my hands a little more. To the other one, then we go around, just like that. Oops, too close. This one's a little bit looser, but that'll be okay. And then we're gonna wanna put these 2 together, like this. And then boom, we have a double mag pouch. Open top, speed load mag. I'm actually gonna do this one a little looser because I can't really get the magazine out right now. So, to make it looser, you just go around with less tightness. You make it a little more, more loose. Now, I can put my magazine in and out easily. And then put them back together. You have your 2 mag pouches that can hold your Valverse mag. Now it's too loose. Give me 1 second. There we go. Let's that'll work for now. Now remember, typically when you do this, you want to get it right the first time because like a Lego set, it's pretty hard to put together or fix a mistake after you've done the other steps. So now we have our double mag. There we go, focused. Now we're going to move on to our hand grenade mag. Now we're going to do something very similar with the tape. We're going to get a little bit, cut it, then we will cut it in half, and just, oops, turn this one down a little bit. And now this one. Trim them down, and then, like the other one, just kind of wrap them around the hand grenade. I don't know if you can hear that, but someone's phone is going off right now. Don't mind that. You go around. This is kind of a lower hand grenade pouch. It's a little too tight, so I'm gonna redo it. Now you kind of want these ones to be a little bit tighter because these are more, they have a little less friction, being smooth. And then for the other one, we repeat the same thing, going loosely around it, like so. There's people going in and out of the house right now, so you might hear some banter and some doors opening and closing. Don't mind that. It's just typical background noise. There we go. And similar to the magazines, we just put them together, kind of rotate them to where there's similar angles to make it look a little nicer. There we go. I typically have mine at like a 45-degree. And then for these, you put these two together depending on how you want them. Typically, I prefer my magazines on the right or on the left side of the figure, on the figure's left side. And then the grenade pouches, we really don't need to worry about the bottom of the mag, or the bottom of the pouches, but for the magazine pouches, you kind of want to get another sliver of tape. Just kind of go over the bottom. Let me turn this one down a little bit. It's too big. So that these guys don't go too far down, mess up all the stuff below them. And then you have a little bottom. You know what, we might as well do it for the hand grenades too. Now we can have some better pouches than my last vest, because my last vest has really been my entire testing vest. That's what I did most of my modifications to, trying to figure out what worked and what didn't work. Let's see. There we go. Now we have nice bottoms to our magazines. Or not magazines, our pouches. And then next, we can grab these and lay them onto the front plate bag. Actually, not quite yet. I lied. Not quite yet. You're going to get your front plate bag, and then you're going to fix this wonky thing. Okay, and then you're going to get some more electrical tape. And maybe about an inch this time. 3/4 of an inch to an inch, depending on your figure. And then I'm going to cut it in half, lengthwise. And then repeat that again on the two halves that we already cut. These are going to be these shoulder straps for our vest. Now, you can do these Velcro if you like. I personally do not like them Velcro because the Velcro I use is not super strong and the shoulders are a very, very moving part for when I do stop motions with like the butterfly and all that. Whoops. So I typically do not support them, or I do not typically make mine Velcro. And then what you're gonna wanna do is for the rear plate bag, you kinda wanna line it up with the edge so that it's where that corner is. We can do this twice with two of our things, with two of our shoulder straps. And then we grab our front plate bag, wherever I put, oh, here it is, wherever I put it. And then line it up with this, attach it. Attach both sides. And then now we're going to do the same thing, but on top. So this is what's going to be, it keeps them together. Now, if you do not have it in you to make these, I am hoping of one day being able to sell these on eBay or OfferUp, potentially. Heck, even if I strike it big, maybe even Amazon. Because I think that this might be something cool that collectors can use. Not just collectors, but stop motion well, not quite animators, I'm not an animator, but stop motion people like me. So now we have our shoulder straps. Then we can put our pouches on. Actually, not quite yet, I lied again. Now we're gonna put the actual plate bags on. The little covering for the vest. We're gonna take off some tape about that big, cut it in half. No, well, that's a pretty bad cut. But we're gonna do that. We'll start with the front plate bag so that when we put our magazines on, it'll look nice. We're gonna wanna kind of put it just on the line to where your little crease is. So kind of like that. Then around the back, just kind of loop it around. It should look like, oops, like that on the back, that on the front. And then you're gonna do the same thing on the back a little higher up, probably closer to the shoulders so that you can keep your shoulder straps on there. They don't fall off like that. And then after that, you just kind of grab tape and fill in all the white spots where there is not covering. So I'm going to do that off screen. I will be right back. I lied again. Let's see. Where did I put those little snippings? We are going to make the connection point for our plate carrier, so we can put backpacks on it. You're going to get another one of these, if you can, and then just kind of cut off a 1/2 inch of Velcro, like so. You're going to grab your Velcro, then you're going to go on your rear plate bag. On the inside of your rear plate bag, you're going to put it about there. Now, you're going to tape over that to hold that side in. And then you're going to fold it over like this so that it's on both sides like that. And then you're just going to tape over it to hold it down. Make sure it doesn't come all up on you. And then it should end up looking something like this. Now, if you need to, you can definitely reinforce this. This is going to complete the rear. Actually, no, this is not. That looks kind of ugly. I'm going to add a little bit more on the shoulders. However, that's just my preference, because I think that they should be a little bit stronger than I think they need to be, so that I don't have critical failure. So I'm just going to kind of go around the top of the here. And actually, I'm going to trim that off. Trim this so that doesn't get in the way of that. And then take that little trimming, go around the other side. So with it supported, it should look something like this. The inside should still have this, because this is what's going to connect to your backpacks. Now on the front plate bag, we're going to get something about this size. And we're going to go around the top of the plate bag. This does not cover the entire thing, so I will need to get another piece real quick. Trim that off, and then trim this down a little bit because it's too big. And then put this right on there. So now you have the very top part of your plate carrier. Now, if you so choose, you can either put a little bit of Velcro on there, or you can just make electrical tape like flags or patches and put those on the very top of the vest, the very top front, or wherever you please, really. It's your plate bag, your plate carrier. So you kind of just want to put this over top so you don't have that big white plate looking at you. Right over top. Now on my first vest, I do have the American flag on it. I might transfer that over here because this is a lot better than the original. And for the camo pattern on this, that is for a different video. Whoops. Because this is a very, not complex, but kind of a time-consuming thing. Okay, we're finally to the point where we can put the mag pouches on. So to put the mag pouches on, you do exactly that. You just put them on, just like that. Now you can you can put another pouch underneath it, but I don't think it's super necessary. And then what you want to do, actually I could probably put this a little bit lower. Put that maybe a little lower than it needs to be. Actually no, a little, yeah, that's right on the money. And then right behind the mag pouches, not too, don't take them all the way off. Take them off about halfway, like that. You're gonna get this again. You're gonna cut a piece off of here. So you can put it so that it will connect to the back of the, actually it'll connect to the front plate bag. Now you can have, this step doesn't really necessary. However, I do like being able to open up my plate carrier like this, and maybe even put a dangler pouch on the bottom. That might be another thing we do a different time though. Then you're gonna want to get a thinner piece, kind of go around the front. Then you're gonna want to open this up, bring it down around the bottom, around the back. And then just kind of make sure you get all of the sticky parts covered up so that you're not having dirt or grass or fluff or whatever on your plates, plate bag, plate carrier. Now this is a pretty simple thing to do. I'm doing this off screen because I can't really use my hands super well, super far in front of me. So I'm doing this back here. However, I will show you the finished product. Let's put that there. Now, I actually like the minimalist plate carriers a little better than the heavier ones because I personally have a minimalist plate carrier and I really, really like it. It is one of my favorite setups. Now, here we go. Now we have this, and we can open this up and put a little Velcro on the back or in the front of the plate if we like to, and put what's called a dangler pouch, an IFAC, something like that. Actually, this is a little bit, there we go. Why is it like that? Okay. There's always a little bit of tweaks you can do. This is what the plate carrier should look like. Now, how you put it on a figure is you grab the figure, you, depending on if they have a small head or not, this guy's got a helmet on, so you pop their head off, then you open up the rear cummerbund, and then you put the shoulder straps over. You kind of open the hands up, or open the arms up so you can get under. Then you, actually, you know what, I'll try something else. I'll try something I haven't done before. You put it between that little flap we made on the front. Okay, the next thing we're gonna make is the belt belt. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get a thick, little slab of Velcro stuff. Then we're gonna get a thinner one and go around the outside. However, we're not gonna do this, whoops, for very long. I did, you know, that was perfect timing. We're gonna cut this down a little bit shorter. Make sure it's a little longer than you need it to be, because you want it to go around your figure's waist and not get caught and whatnot. Let's see, is this the right length? My battle belt for this figure is a little bit longer than I needed it to be. So yeah, it should be good. Now what you're gonna do is, I won't really show you how to make pouches because it's pretty simple. It's very similar to the plate carrier pouches, however, with a little loop on them. For the plate, this is the outer belt of the battle belt. You're just gonna kind of slide off a pouch. Then you can slide it on if it's the right diameter, yep, or right the size. You just slide it right on, and then you put your thicker waist support on it. Then boom, you have your single mag pouch. And then you can do that with the holster, the flashbang, and the knife as well. Like I said, I won't be showing how to make those because it's the exact same as the hand grenade pouches and the magazine pouches from the plate carrier. So there's really no need. Now, for the battle belt, or duty belt, whatever you prefer calling it, you basically just get a skinnier piece of tape or Velcro and put it on a larger one. Once you put all your pouches on the skinnier one, you kind of want to center it with your pouches. I don't have any pouches on this one right now because I just don't really want to put them all on there. But then you go around the back of the waist, go to the front, cover the Velcro, and then boom, you have a battle belt, or if you're making a backpack, even a waist belt. And take it off, you just unvelcro it. Now for the backpack. The backpack is probably going to be the biggest, probably the most, actually no, I'd say the plate carrier is the most complex. But the backpack is definitely going to be your biggest accessory type thing. This backpack I made, let's see. This one I designed it after the Marine Corps ILBE assault pack, the one that they made in Marpat Woodland. However, mine is not in Marpat Woodland because I can't really get it that small. But you can't see it. I have a paper clip that was bent in the four corners as an internal frame. So I try and bend this, it won't bend super great because there's the frame in it. Now for this next day pack, I will not be putting a frame because it's a day pack, it doesn't need one. You're not going out for long missions. Now I'm going to do this day pack by getting my fastener. What's gonna bring this thing to connect to the plate carrier. Then I'm gonna get my electrical tape and just make a backpack. Just how I said in the first make a backpack video. You just kind of loop them like that and just just repeat the process. I'd say anywhere from 3 to 4 times, depending on what kind of backpack you want. Now on this backpack, I'm not going to be adding any external pouches. Actually, I might add some external pouches. We'll see when we get there. But this is designed to be just a day pack. Just a simple 3-day assault pack, similar to the Army's ACU 3-day assault pack, or the Marine Corps' FILBE 3-day assault pack, which I personally have. I really like that pack. I recommend it. It's a very, very nice pack. For this one, 2 should be sufficient because it's not a large pack. Now, what you're going to want to do next is get some electrical tape, maybe about 1 inch of it, and then just trim some down to about 3/4 of the original tape. And then go on one side of your backpack. If I can get this to line up right. And then you're going to want to go to the other side. Get it to where when you open it up, it'll have this nice flat bottom. And then to cover that up, you're going to do the same thing with a full piece on the other side. So you're just going to go like this. You're going to just put that right there. And then go across the first cross brace type thing. And then you have your bottom. You have the bottom of your pack. So now there's a little bit of sealing we need to do, but that's pretty easy. We can do that in the next layer. Next, we're going to attach the top backpack attachment point. Now what we're going to do is cut this in half. So now you have a slice like that. And then we're going to put this through the hole in here. Mind, this is the part that we cut off. Now, we're going to grab the plate carrier we just made and try to remember what the adapter was. So it was the hook adapter. So we want the loop adapter on the outside of this so that it will connect. So we're going to rig this up to where the loop adapter is going to be on the bottom. On the bottom. And then we're going to attach it to the backpack once I do this real quick. Okay, then we're going to grab our backpack and attach the attachment point onto our backpack. We're going to go into the top like so, and then fold over. Actually, I did that a little wrong. I did that a lot wrong. Here we go. Now you have a attachment point that is way too high. I am going to fix this real quick because I do not think I have too much time left out here. Actually, no, I'm good on time. Okay. So, I just messed up the bottom of my pack, but that's all right. We're going to put it like this. There we go. Put it on this side of that. Then we're just gonna tape up all of the other sides, which we already made so that they're not sticky. Actually, I lied again. First, we're gonna grab this thinner one. I had this kind of just laying around. Now for our plate carrier, the hooks again are out. So we want the loop side. Now we're gonna go around the bottom of this. Just kind of put it on there. Then we're gonna, I guess that doesn't want to stick. We're gonna grab some tape, snip it, find nice attachment point for here. And then just tape this on to the bottom around the waist level. It should hang around the waist level. Now we have our waist belt. That's going to be the other half of the connecting point for our vest. Now we're going to just cover the other sides. This is pretty simple. Covering the bottom, covering the back, covering the sides. Now I will not be doing external pouches because those are kind of harder to get right. Like, let's see. Typically they put canteen pouches and whatnot on there, but I don't have canteens except for the gridiron ones. Those already have the pouches on them, so there's not really a point. Now we're going to go around the top of our plate carrier, or not our plate carrier, I'm going crazy. Our day pack, 3-day cell pack. Just kind of cover up all the sticky parts. Now, so we can have a nice, clean assault pack. Now you could probably stick it here. It's a pretty good setup. However, I think that I can make this a bit better by cutting off the top part and then by adding a little bit of reinforcement by the connection for the connection point, the Velcro loop. Just getting a little bit and going around here. Now we have our top connection point and our bottom connection point. Now, to attach this to the plate carrier, we get our plate carrier, we get our top mounting point, and we kind of go between the arm bands, the shoulder bands I meant, connect it there, and then we bring it down to the bottom and connect it to the compartments. Now we have an assault pack that fits onto our plate carrier. You can see the pack on there. Now, thank you for listening to me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing if you have. If you have not, please consider it. I've been trying to post every week. However, school and extracurricular are not particularly fond with that decision. So anyways, thank you for watching. Actually, before I go, this was a project I was doing the other day. I tried to base it off of the Greek lizard camouflage by using different color tapes and coloring white tape to give it the right texture. Not texture, but tone. If you would like to, comment down below. Tell me what else I could do, what else I should do. If you'd like me to make different kinds of plate carriers or different kinds of backpacks, I could show you how to make the other backpacks at some point potentially. I could make different belts, I could make different holsters, different knee pads even if I figure out what to make the actual knee pad out of. As of right now, this is probably going to be this week's video. This might also count for next week's video because this hopefully is going to be around a 30-minute video. I'm not quite sure yet. But yeah, thank you for watching. I already said it, but I'll repeat it. If there's anything you'd like me to make, please comment below. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider it. If you don't, I can't tell you what to do. We're getting close to 100 subscribers as of the time of recording. We're at 94. So, at 100 subscribers, not quite sure what I'm going to do yet. Maybe another video like this. Maybe, you know what, maybe if I get 100 subscribers, when I get 100 subscribers, I will show off my favorite character, my favorite figures that I have, my favorite stop motion with, and maybe make a tier list of my favorite stop motions. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, maybe check out my other how to make videos. I'd make a playlist, but I made my playlist private, so I don't think I can do that. However, I'll see what I can do. I have how to make a backpack. I have some custom figures such as my 70s Spook and Mason Woods without his beard. I don't remember what other how-to videos I have. I might have some other ones, I might not. And then stop motions, those are the main other thing. But yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you come back.